shotguns when a perfectly good ivory-handled Colt stood in a holster on his hip. But that had been his call. Sam shook his head thinking about it. He also had no idea why Grillo chose such a place as the beautiful Dreams Bordello for such a reckoning, though he supposed that didn't matter either. Lit up high on ground cocaine and peyote, the kid hadn't been in his right mind. Sam remembered the kid's wide eyes shining down at him like black wet glass. "Ever think you'd die on your way up to a whorehouse, Ranger?" he'd called down to Sam. White, cottony spittle clung to either corner of his lips. Sam hadn't answered. How could he have replied to such a question as that? He'd been more concerned with those two double barrels on the steps above him than he was in making conversation. The kid held the shotguns propped upward on either hip, poised and ready. Well, almost ready, Sam reflected. The first thing Sam had noticed was that the big shotgun hammers weren't cocked. And that was all he needed to see. Just as the Fort Smith kid's thumbs went over each set of gun hammers respectively, the Ranger raised the big Colt he'd carried, cocked and hanging down his thigh beside his empty holster. Without a word to the kid, Sam had taken quick but careful aim, making sure his shot had his full concentration. Then he'd squeezed the Colt's trigger with finality. "Holy God!" the kid started to shout, trying to swing the shotguns down at the Ranger in time, but he didn't get the words out of his mouth. Nor did he get both shotguns cocked before the Ranger's bullet sliced through his heart, blowing part of it out his back. It thumped onto the stone steps behind him. A smear of blood and fragments of dark muscle matter streaked upward as if pointing toward the ornate bordello doors. As the kid fell, the single shotgun he'd managed to cock flew backward, hit the stones, and exploded in a blue-orange streak, peppering two iron-trimmed oak doors that marked the entrance of Beautiful Dreams. Splinters flew from the doors. Atop the steps, a young prostitute who had been watching felt the sting of splinters nip at her bare shoulder. She had screamed, dropped the black cigar she'd been smoking, and vanished inside behind one of the partially open doors. From that day to this, Sam had followed the gang's tracks along stretches of sandy beach, through forests of cedar and pine, across wavering desert flats, and down rocky hillsides. And now to wild roses, he told himself. Beneath him, the copper dun kept a brisk pace, in spite of the fiery heat rising with the beat of its hooves on the burning sand. From the hayloft above a plank and adobe livery barn, a young red-haired Scots-Irish woman named Erin Donovan gazed out at the approaching Ranger atop the copper-colored dun. The dun's black stockings and matching mane and tail took on a sheen of silvery sand as dust rose and drifted behind it. "It is him," she murmured quietly, knowing that her brother Bram lay unconscious on a blanketed pallet of straw in a corner behind her. Her brother had spent another bad night, shivering and rambling out of his head. Throughout the heat of the day he had remained unconscious, sweating heavily, which the doctor had said was the best thing for him. That and plenty of clean, cool water, she reminded herself, to help wash the venom from his system. She continued to gaze out at the lone rider on the coppery Black Point dun, watching him stop more than 100 yards from town, draw a rifle from his saddle boot, check it, and lay it across his lap. All the while he stared toward Wild Roses as if he could see her, as if he was looking into her eyes deep enough to see the edges of her soul. "Nonsense! Stop it!" she scolded herself. Her life had neither the time nor the space for such farm-girl romanticism. Still her gaze lingered on the Ranger, staring as she might under different circumstances, as if he were some dusty cavalier, some king's knight in armor come to save her. Yet these were not different circumstances, she thought, taking a quick glance over her shoulder as her brother moaned under his shallow breath and lay drenched in sweat. There was no changing her situation, and there were no knights, no dashing horsemen riding in her direction. There was only her and her brother Bram. Both were wanted by the law in Texas, and here came a lawman, one who would do them dirt? She wondered. Had Bram not stumbled upon a large desert rattlesnake?